Hello everyone, welcome all back to the channel. Of course, today the Feds decide to cut the interest rate 50 points, which is the first time since March 2020. Okay, now you're all gonna ask, is that gonna affect me? How is it gonna affect the stock market, the crypto, real estate, my life in general? Yes, it's gonna affect you. I'm gonna break this all down for you now, and trust me, this information you need to know. So let's get started. So why did the Feds cut the interest rate? Of course, there are several reasons, but the main two is, as you heard in the last 3 quarters, the unemployment rate went up. So that's kind of freaking out the Feds a little bit. The other reason is the inflation. As we remember, why did the Feds even raise the interest rate for years? Because they printed so many dollars and then everything got affected, everything got more expensive. So what they did to stop the inflation is make borrowing money more difficult. They charge you more interest. So to affect on inflation, to make it go down. Now, after what they did for 2 years or almost 3 years now, as you can see, the inflation rate went down to 2.5%, which is close to their target. So those 2 reasons made the Fed decide to cut the interest rate finally. Now, to the subject that matters. How is that going to affect on the stock market behavior? Is the stock market going to go up? Is the stock market going to go down? What's going to happen? Okay, usually, generally speaking, after the Feds cut the interest rate, the S&P 500 first reacts negatively, unfortunately. But after that, in the long term, 85% of the time, the next 12 months, the S&P 500 goes up. So 85% of the time, long term, it's going to go up the next 12 months, usually. But the first reaction is usually negative. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean this is going to happen this time, but generally speaking, that's how it behaves. Okay, so we don't know. And now you guys are going to ask, but why? Why does the stock market behave that way? Okay, the stock market usually, we can call it forward thinking. That's how it behaves. So the stock market already reacted to the Feds cutting the interest rate 50 points. That's how it reacted before, even though the Feds didn't cut the interest rate yet, but that's how it reacted. So stock market kind of reacts to the future now more than the present and the past. So what's going to happen in the future, that's how the stock market is going to react now. So it's like future expectations. Now the other important question, what about Bitcoin? What about crypto? Okay, Bitcoin and crypto usually reacts positively to the Feds cutting the interest rate, which means yes, usually when the Feds cut the interest rate, the Bitcoin goes up after that. But hold on, the Bitcoin usually follows the trend of the gold. So usually the gold goes up and then the Bitcoin. And historically, September was not one of the best months when it comes to Bitcoin. Historically, it didn't have good history, but usually October and November will be, we hope it will be better because that's how Bitcoin usually behaves. What about everything else? What about my credit card? What about my car? What about buying a house? What about my saving account? Okay, for everything else, the Fed's cutting the interest rate usually has a positive effect. Because now if you want to apply for a mortgage loan and buy a house, guess what? The monthly payment is going to go down a little bit. Because now borrowing money will cost less. Interest rate is lower, but it's not going to go down very much. Don't expect it to go from 7% down to 2%. No, all they did is 50 points, by the way. So that's not going to make everyone buy property now and have money to do that. So it's going to affect, but the effect is not huge. Okay? Same thing for credit cards. Let's say you have some credit debt. Now the banks are going to charge you less interest because of that. Let's say you want to buy a car. The same thing, same as a mortgage loan if you want to buy a house. It's going to cost you a little bit less now. The bad thing is, like, if you have a saving account or CDs in the bank, now the banks will pay you less interest. It's not the end of the world, right? Okay, so conclusion, Fed's cutting the interest rate will have effect on everything in our life. Crypto, stock market, buying a house, borrowing money, everything, okay? But keep in mind, this is the first cut rate. The Feds are gonna still cut the interest rate more and more and more, so there is more coming. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share the video, and have a good night.